Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Brianna. I am so excited to be bringing this video to you guys. We are doing my January wrap up and I'm excited to talk about it. Let's get into the stats. So in total, I read 2,082 pages this month. I read a total of 5 books and I had 1 DNF, which this is my first DNF ever. I am so excited to chat about it. As for my ratings, I had an average of a 5.05 rating for the month, which I am screaming about and so excited to get into. So let's start off with the DNF. So the book that I DNF'd is actually called Female Fantasy. I cannot remember the name of the author, but I picked up this book because I saw a recommendation online for it and the concept is really cool. It's basically about a girl who is in love with her book boyfriend, but in the sense that she just will not allow herself to date anybody that is less of a caliber than him, which is totally valid. I think we all have our book boyfriends, but this was taken to an absolute other level that I just was not appreciating and did not enjoy at all. We start off the book in the book boyfriend's world and we get to actually read that book, and I just could not for the life of me connect to that storyline. And then when we would get into the main storyline of, I think her name was like Rooney or something like that, she just was very childlike to me. It felt like I was reading a YA book about how she was just perceiving life. I get being able to, enjoy a book boyfriend, but there were even like intimate moments with her and her book boyfriend, like just in her mind and just by herself, that I was a bit uncomfortable with. And on top of that, there was one moment that literally made me shut the whole book and decide I was not going to read it. And it is that she basically goes on a monologue after, mind you, just a silly little joke comes up and she basically tells the person she's talking to, do not make fun of me and my little romance reads. It's because of the patriarchy that women are forced to kind of read these romances and discover themselves through them. And a lot of women use romances as a way to identify what they like versus what they're told that they like, which I think I've said it a little bit better than it was actually portrayed, but it just kind of made me annoyed at the fact that she was speaking for like all women and not herself, because that's something that I can't relate to. So that was enough for me to close the book and DNF it for the first time ever in my life. I have never DNF'd a book before, so it was really hard and I really did want to continue. But after that sentiment, I seriously was like, no, I'm not picking this up, and I even returned it. After my first read of the year, I read The Unbearable Lightness of Being. This definitely felt like a classic when I was reading it. It's actually Czech literature that has been translated to English, and I think that that is a very important thing to know about when you're going into this book. It definitely reads like a classic because it was written quite some time ago. The reason why this book caught my attention was originally because it's basically about a girl and a man and the affairs that he basically has. The kicker is that she's in love with him and she kind of accepts him for his womanizing self, which I didn't really agree with. It's actually kind of sad, and it really hit home in the sense that sometimes women, I think, sacrifice a lot for the people that they love, and ultimately they're happy never because they're not happy in the relationship that they're in, because they're not getting what they want fully, or they're unhappy because they're not with the person that they love. So it was very sad to read, and there were parts that were tough to get through, but I did really enjoy her story. I think where things got lost for me is when we started talking about like the background and the extra people, and there were just some elements of that just were very like snooze fest to me. But I did enjoy overall the stories. I did leave a Goodreads review that I will put up here that will probably like encompass better what I'm trying to say, and I did enjoy it, even though it was only a 3.5. The next book that I read, I do not have in physical form because I'm waiting for the paperback to come out. Sue me, but I love paperbacks, and that is Loved One. I always forget the name of the author, so bear with me. This was a 4.75. It was not quite a 5-star read for me, but I did really enjoy this story. It was actually a book club pick, and I just really enjoyed the themes that were talked about in the story. It's basically about a girl losing someone that's very close to her, and she kind of is left with unanswered questions, and she basically is kind of on this like crazy-ish journey trying to figure out what she's even looking for, which she's not even really sure about, and just an unexpected friendship ends up happening. I think some self-discovery ends up happening, and I think she's able to kind of realize that maybe the person that she thought she knew is not the only version of them. So I really enjoyed it. It's definitely a book I think that will resonate with people who have lost someone close to them, and a book that I can see myself going back to in that kind of headspace, I think, whether it's in life or like just relationships that you've lost. first. So I think that it was a really great read. I really did enjoy it. I thought the writing was amazing, and I will definitely be reading another book that this author puts out. The next book that I picked up in January was Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash. This is actually a debut novel, and I was really drawn to this book, especially because of the cover. I just think it's so cool. Like, I love just the writing. I love the girl at the bottom, and we are following the very dysfunctional Flynn family and what feels like the worst days of their lives. I feel like I was just truly a fly on the wall of the whole town, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I feel like this story could have gone very wrong because there are so many moving pieces, there are so many perspectives that we get, and you are kind of wondering the whole time, how is this all going to wrap up together? And you really don't know where the story is going. But I think that Madeline Cash is a writer that I am going to be following for a very long time, and hope to see more projects like this from her, because I truly think her writing is what solidified this 5-star read for me. And it was just because she brought us on a roller coaster of a journey that I somehow enjoyed the whole time and did not want to get off of. And that's really all I can say. Going into this book blind is probably the biggest recommendation that I can give to you, but I will say I do recommend this book, and it was a fun time reading it. I truly think that if this was adapted into an HBO show, this would definitely be something that everyone is talking about. Now, let's get into the juicy books that I read at the end of January. These are both 6-star reads for me. The first one is The Frozen River. I cannot even tell you how unexpected this 6-star read was for me. I went into this book just basically trying to finish my January TBR. I even searched up how fast-paced this book was, and the first thing that came up on the internet is that it is extremely slow-paced, and that was just almost like I was not going to pick up this book. I thought it was fully going to put me in a reading slump, and when I tell you, it was the complete opposite. The Frozen River is basically portrayed to be this book about a small town, and it is historical fiction, so it is set in 1789. I feel that every time I read historical fiction, I end up being very surprised in what I'm finding and how much I'm enjoying the book. So I think that is definitely a genre that I enjoy a lot. You basically start off the book by the town finding a man dead in the frozen river as winter is coming in Maine. You think that that's what the story is going to be about. You think that it's going to be about the murder of this man and sort of a murder mystery situation, a whodunit, if you will. And when I tell you, I came to this book for that plot line, but I stayed for so much more. I cannot even put into words how much I enjoyed this book. I feel like the main character was so special and just great, and somebody that I really enjoyed reading. And one thing that took me by surprise was the love story in this book. Because of the time, women have pretty much no rights. At this point, they do, but when she first meets her husband, they have pretty much no rights, and he gives her an opportunity to basically grow and flourish and really stands behind her, which I think is so rare in this time, especially with all of the tragedy that they experience as a family. So when I got any snippets of their love story, I was absolutely eating it up. I think it's one of the most beautiful love stories I've honestly read, and I really, really enjoyed and loved. That is such a small, beautiful detail in this magnificent book. I'm not joking. I have seen some people basically say that they do not like this book, which is completely understandable, but if you push through it, you will truly enjoy every moment of it. As the book continued, I felt like it only got better and better and better. I found myself feeling heartwarming feelings, on edge, uncertain. I just feel like this book made me feel everything I want when I'm reading something, and it really brought me into the story that I purchased another book by this author. I enjoyed and loved this book so much, and the main character gives baddie energy. Like, she does something that's absolutely savage that I am so happy that she ends up doing, and it is just like a book of women empowerment, and I absolutely loved it and ate it up, and it was just a no-brainer, a 6-star for me. The last book that I read in January was Remarkably Bright Creatures. Let's just take a moment for this book because I absolutely loved it. I finished it literally in one day because I had to wrap up my TBR for January, and I literally sat down and I read it all day long, and it was a book that I can truly say can be read in any circumstance. I feel like oftentimes we put down a book because it's just not the right time, not the right place to be reading it, and I truly feel like this story can be read in any moment of your life and any time of the seasons and any day of the year. It is just that good. We are following Tova, Marcellus, and Cameron. What I really enjoyed about this is that there are very small chapters and they are all alternating for the most part, and because of that, it makes it really easy to read, and I feel like they were blended really well. Also, what I really loved is that I felt like 3 characters that we focused on, they all had something in common, which really grounded them together, and I just loved Tova. I loved loved being able to experience an older woman and what she is basically dealing with as she no longer has her husband or a family, and just kind of the decisions that she's making. I think it's comforting for anybody who knows that obviously eventually they're going to get older and they might have to come to the same conclusions. And also, I feel like if you feel sometimes like you're a loner and you don't have a place where you belong, this book is for you, because it basically just shows that we're never really alone and that some pretty remarkable things can happen that can change everything. I will not lie and say that I was not emotional the last 20 minutes. And I'm not talking sobbing because of one line, which yes, I did sob specifically because of one line, but I'm saying in general, the last 20% of this book, I was tearing up quite a bit, and a book has never made me do that. Like, I'm talking reading multiple kind of chapters towards the end and just kind of feeling almost sad and happy and a little bittersweet that the story is going to end. And I immediately searched if this author had any other books, because it was truly immediately on my top books ever read, which I haven't done in forever, and was at a point basically in my reading life where I was like, will I ever find another book that is a 6-star read for me? And I did find 2 this month, which is actually insane. What I'm trying to say is that it was just so great. I wanted to read another book by this author immediately. She doesn't have one out yet. I don't know if this is true. I think that she will be coming out with another book. Don't know when, but it will be in the same universe. And when it comes out, I will be there and I will pick it up and I will read it. So that is everything that I read in the month of January. I had such a fun reading month. I really did think that I was going to start off this month on a bad note just because I did DNF my first book ever. I am so happy that I ended up finding 2 6-star reads and a 5-star read. I really want to shout out somebody that was on my TikTok and replied to one of my DNF videos that I posted. I hope the next book you read is a 5-star, and that's exactly what happened. So shout out to the reader community and just being supportive and knowing that we're all in this together and enjoying all of these stories. If you read any of these books or you have read any of these books, please let me know in the comments below what you think. I feel like the best part about finishing a book and being so passionate about it is that, but I think it could be taken a step further if you have more people to talk about it with. I would love to know your guys' opinions if you're deciding to pick any of these up. And I'm also really excited for my February TBR. I just posted that video, I believe, last week. So if you haven't watched it, it's on my page. I had a fun time. I did a blind TBR. Really excited to continue to film more of these fun videos for you guys. I do have a birthday haul coming up soon, so please stay tuned for that and make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.